Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, a homeowner association sues an old man for not joining the HOA. They vandalized his property, towed his classic car, and destroyed his pool. However, he got revenge. Here is what happened. And the title story starts like this. I'm writing this post on behalf of my elderly father, who had a really bad run-in with his local HOA. Now, my dad was always a hard worker and got his first job at like 14 years old and never stopped working until he was in his 60s. He was the guy working 3 jobs to make sure that his family never had to suffer, and we appreciated him for it. Due to some amazing investments, he ended up having more money in his early years than he knew what to do with. He was pretty wealthy and with it liked to let another part of his personality show. My dad was a bit of a troll before the term really even existed. He had standards and would only troll people who deserved it. The HOA that he lives close to totally deserved it and he was gonna have some fun. Now, his main home is not within the HOA boundaries at all, but he owns 3 other properties all within the HOA walls but refuses to join the HOA. He knows that people not agreeing to join annoy the hell out of them and cause them to bother people. He decided he would waste their time if they were gonna waste his. Every time somebody new from the HOA would call him, he would pretend to be interested and let them ramble on while he did not even pay attention. Only then to tell them that he was not joining and hanging up the phone. They deserved it for harassing people who were not in the HOA constantly about joining, and he hoped would make them think twice about it. Instead, they got totally pissed off at my dad and wanted to start a war with him. Keep in mind that from an outside look, there was no way for the HOA to come out looking good. Even if they wanted to claim that he started it with wasting their time, he was a 74-year-old man with a cane. They were either going to look like they were bullying an old man or be the HOA that lost to an old man. They actually went to the town and tried to argue that he was not allowed to own all these properties and must be doing something illegal to have them. However, he wasn't, which is what they were told. He was just rich and spending his money while he had it, since you cannot take it with you after. Another nice thing my dad had was a car from like the 1960s that was bright red and gorgeous. I cannot remember for the life of me what that car was called right now, but I do know he spent a ton of money on it. He said it was one of the first cars he ever had that was not a cheap wreck and wanted to get one in good condition again. It was extremely sentimental for him, even though he couldn't drive anymore, but just to sit in it and look at it. Seeing him happy was one of the most amazing things in the world, because this is a man that gave to everybody else until he was in his older years. He was giving himself a lifetime worth of presents and we all loved he was doing that. The HOA thought it would be funny to have that car towed away when he left it on one of the other properties, showing them that it was an HOA, and since it looked like nobody lived there, they got away claiming it was HOA property and somebody left the car there. When he found out it got towed, he called me more upset than I ever heard him be in my life. I went to investigate and found that it got towed away to a scrapyard where it had then been stolen. We filed a report but never heard anything about it being found afterwards, which really sucked. The other thing the HOA did while my dad was still upset about the car was destroying his pool. He had an in-ground pool in his main home's backyard. And while we were gone, they managed to drain the pool and then took what my best guess is a jackhammer to the foundation of it. It was ruined, and by this point I was getting really pissed off. My dad went from happy to miserable, and these were the people to blame. I wanted him to file a lawsuit, but he said that in his age he did not feel like fighting some long legal battle. However, that changed once the HOA tried to sue him for not agreeing to join them. Their claims included things like the car being stolen and the pool being destroyed. Their argument was that him not being a part of the HOA meant bad people were being attracted to steal and damage the neighborhood. That without the strength of everybody being a member, he was putting everybody in danger. My dad not only got a lawyer to defend him, but to turn the HOA claims back onto them with proof that they were the cause of everything they mentioned. That the entire thing was a complete sham into scaring people into thinking the HOA would make them safe and pinning everything on my father. What the HOA did not know is that we had proof they did both of these things, and my dad just did not want to act on them until now. With all of his money, he was of course going to install cameras around his properties, especially since 3 of them didn't always have people living in them and he couldn't check on them often. The HOA president was so stupid that he actually showed up himself for both the towing and the destruction of the pool. For the pool, it was not clear in the image what was used to destroy it, but that did not really matter. We had video evidence of him doing this and his entire case fell apart. He was told off for trying to manipulate a case to go in his favor. Meanwhile, my dad had the countersuit for the cost of his car and pool repair. He did not need the money, but he felt great taking it away from the HOA. They also got a horrible reputation because my dad would tell everybody in town when he was at the store and stuff about what had happened, really milking the fact that he was an old and supposedly easy target just to get everybody against the HOA. Almost like a revenge, but instead of actively doing anything, he was just making the HOA the most hated thing in the entire area. People wanted out and the HOA told them that they were bound by a contract and couldn't do anything about it. A bunch of people threatened to sue and that was finally when the dam broke. The HOA president had to make the entire HOA close down and give people money back. Meanwhile, an actual criminal case against him was still pending for the grand theft auto and destruction of my father's property. Due to that, he had to stick around and be hated by everybody before finally his case went to court and he was found guilty and sent to jail for 5 years. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I'm so happy that in the end the HOA president definitely got what he deserved. Honestly, I'm kind of getting tired of these HOA bullies that just think they can do anything and everything and there are no consequences for them. It's really time for people to fight back against injustice. Anyway, if you still enjoy the HOA stories, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even post a comment because Disney and me would very much appreciate that. Thank you so much, and now let's continue with the next one. This one is titled Big Troubles in the HOA. My wife Sarah and I were thrilled when we found out she was pregnant with our first child. We had just moved into our new home in a quaint little neighborhood, excited to start this next chapter of our lives. The day we brought our precious baby boy Logan home was one of the happiest of my life. That joy, however, was short-lived. It began with a knock at our door just 2 days after we were settled in at home with the baby. I opened it to find Janice, the HOA president, standing on our porch with a stern look on her face. "We have received a noise complaint about your residence," she stated. "Newborns are permitted in this community, but we must insist you keep the disruptions to a minimum." I was stunned. Our son was barely a week old and still waking every couple of hours crying. Of course he was gonna make some noise. He was a baby, for heaven's sake. "I'm sorry, but you cannot expect a newborn to be completely silent," I replied politely. "We are doing our best, but he needs tending to during the night." "Rules are rules," Janice said. "Control the noise or face a fine." And with that she turned and marched off. I closed the door, shaking my head in disbelief. A noise complaint already? Who could possibly be disturbed by the occasional cries of our tiny infant? Over the next few weeks the complaints persisted. Janice knocked on our door or left threatening notices about the incessant shrieking of our newborn. We explained that we were exhausted new parents doing our best, but Janice would not hear it. She seemed obsessed with enforcing total silence from our house day and night. By the time Logan was 2 months old, we had received over a dozen noise complaints directly from Janice. Never once did an actual neighbor come forward, it was always her. We pleaded with her to have some compassion. Logan was teething and colicky now, his outbursts could not be controlled. But Janice did not care, she wanted him silenced or else. The final straw came on a Saturday morning when I was home alone with the baby. Sarah had gone to her yoga class for a brief respite while I looked after Logan. He had been crying on and off while I tried every trick to soothe his teething pain. No luck, but suddenly a fist pounded violently on the front door. I scooped up Logan and opened it to find a completely unhinged Janice. "That's it, I've had it with all the racket from your household," she yelled. "It stops now or you're out of this neighborhood, you hear?" Little Logan burst into frightened sobs. I clutched him tightly, shielding him from this mad woman. Anger coursed through me. "Do you even hear yourself?" I said. "You're threatening a family with a newborn. He's crying because he's a baby. We cannot control it." "Rules are rules," she spat back. "Get that brat under control." That was the final straw. I had it with her crazy tyranny over something so normal as a baby cries. After I managed to calm poor Logan down again, I called Sarah and told her what happened. She was outraged. "That's insane," she said. "We cannot let her bully new parents like this." "What if Logan starts waking up every hour again? Is she going to try and foreclose on our house when he cries?" I agreed. We needed to stand up to Janice once and for all. An idea struck me. I still had all the threatening notices she had left, complete with dates and times. I could use those timestamps to cross-reference our security camera footage. If I proved that Janice exaggerated or lied about the noise levels, we had a case against her. So I got to work gathering evidence. And sure enough, the footage exposed her lies. Video clips of her pounding furiously on our door while Logan cooed quietly or slept proved that her so-called noise violations were all a fabrication. Armed with this proof, I called a lawyer and outlined the harassment we had faced. To my relief, he agreed to help us fight back. He drafted a stern warning letter to Janice and the HOA board, calling for her immediate removal as a president given her unhinged targeting of an innocent newborn. Janice, of course, did not go quietly. She responded with her own threatening letter insisting the HOA would countersue us for violating noise policies if we kept accusing her. She had clearly grown drunk with power as president, but I wasn't about to cave to her intimidation, not with my son's well-being on the line. We had laws on our side plus time-stamped video proof. So we sued Janice for harassment and slander. When we had our day in court, Janice marched in full of bluster, assuming she could just bully us into backing down. But the look on her face changed to one of disbelief as we presented video evidence of her deceit. The judge himself could hardly believe a supposed community leader would concoct such malicious lies about an innocent baby. In the end, justice was served. Janice was not only removed as HOA president, but forbidden from running again. The judge also granted us a restraining order given her unhinged obsession with our newborn. Meanwhile, we won a sizable settlement from the HOA given the harassment we endured at Janice's hands. Relief washed over Sarah and I driving home that day, knowing that Logan was finally safe, both from Janice's crazy noise complaints and her threats to have us expelled from the neighborhood. Maybe now we could focus on the joys of parenting without living in fear of our unhinged HOA president. In the weeks that followed, we received a steady stream of apologies from board members, neighbors, even folks we barely knew. It turns out Janice had been a petty tyrant abusing her power as a president through intimidation and deceit for a long time. Everyone was mortified at how she treated new parents and a baby. Finally free of her presence, our neighborhood began to transform into the friendly, peaceful community we always hoped for. These days, when Logan cries his head off from teething pain, our neighbors respond with cookies and compassion, not complaints and harassment. And that surely is the sound of justice to my ears. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I just want to remind you, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to also check out my podcast on all major podcast platforms such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and others by just searching for Ripe Stories and you will find me. Pretty much every day you will get early access to new videos that I will eventually post on YouTube and even exclusive content that you won't find on my YouTube channel. So therefore, it's really worth it to check out this podcast daily. Anyway, the next one is titled Douchebag Stepson. My stepson 19 got kicked out of his mother's house after stealing and selling a very expensive item from her husband. He was going from a friend's house to another until my husband brought him in. I was not thrilled to have him in the apartment given his reputation, but he was almost homeless and needed help, so I agreed to let him stay with us until we worked something out with his mom. Truth be told, he is pretty respectful, helped with chores, washed ours and the neighbor's cars for cash, so I thought he had changed. But something strange started happening. My $3,000 necklace disappeared once and I accidentally found it in the bathroom cabinet. Then it disappeared again and I was lucky to find it, but it was somehow hidden under the couch when I found it. I started realizing that my stepson was attempting to steal the necklace, but I kept finding it when he had hid it. I decided to wear it to keep it safe. Monday evening, I was napping in my bedroom while my husband was at work. I fell into deep sleep and then suddenly got waken up by a feeling someone's finger on the back of my neck. I found my stepson trying to open my necklace's clasp. I was lying on one side and I turned and I saw him. I started panicking and he took some steps back, telling me to calm down. I sat up and yelled, asking what he was doing, and he started stuttering. I figured he was trying to steal the necklace from me. I yelled at him to get out and then called my husband crying. My husband got home and tried to work the situation out by making his son apologize, but I said I won't have him there any longer. I don't feel safe anymore after he tried to snatch my necklace while I was sleeping. And this was not even the first time he tried to steal this necklace. My husband said his son had nowhere to go and it would be cruel to kick him out, but I demanded that he leaves. He went to a friend's house and my husband got back and picked a fight with me about how I am putting him in a position to choose between his son and me. He kept convincing me to let him return and promised to make him swear he won't do it, but I refused. I'm honestly worried and cannot be sleeping with both eyes closed with his son in the house. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I'm curious, what would you have done in this situation? Honestly, if someone would go into my bedroom at night and then try to steal the necklace off of my neck, I would instantly kick that person out of my house. That is violating my privacy and so much more. There's no way I would want to live with that person in the same house. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Someone on Reddit said, not the a-hole, do a credit check right now. He is not respectful, he is doing basic chores for cash. Part of me is tempted to say he has been pawning the necklace for quick cash and then getting it back. Or he is testing how long it will take for you to notice it gone, so he has getaway time or time for the pawnshop owner to melt it down before police get there. Or maybe he's trying to establish some kind of fake history of you losing your necklace all over the place so the husband blames you. This is gonna happen again. Also, your husband is wrong, he will continue to do this until he gets jail time. There's a reason he's going from friend to friend's house. If he was quiet and respectful and changed and doing chores, they would be glad to have him. This has happened too many times for anyone to believe he won't do it again. He was supposed to not do it again when he first got there. You need to get an attorney, get all your crap and put it in a bank deposit box. Also, if a single piece of jewelry is missing, don't discuss it with your husband, just call the police. Shred all documents with your name, personal cell number, work info, etc. This includes credit card bills, things you get in the mail saying that you are pre-approved. Take your birth certificate, social card, passport, anything you can use to prove ID and put that in a safe deposit box also. You are one step away from getting knocked out for your jewelry. Get yourself out of there if he refuses to leave and get an attorney. Don't move back in unless your husband agrees to counseling and to kicking him out. There is no negotiating on either condition. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. I don't see this as you getting between your husband and his son. I see this as you not wanting to be accosted in your own home while you sleep. And now let's move on to the next story. It starts like this. The story begins with me and my friend going to a store. I am a veteran and both I and my friend are disabled. I am able to walk with a cane, but my friend is in a wheelchair. We got to the store and started doing our shopping as normal. Shopping was not our favorite thing to do, it was hard to move around and people were always staring. There were many good people that helped us when we needed something, but many others were mean, just like the person that stopped behind us in this story. "Excuse me, I need help," said a female voice from behind them. "I don't have a whole day to wait after you," she added. I turned around and looked at the woman. She was the spitting image of what you would call a Karen. Everything about her was screaming Karen, her clothes, her hair and the purse. I already knew that the conversation would be an annoying one, but I still replied, "I'm sorry for making you wait after me." "What can I do for you?" I asked, smiling. "Don't make fun of me." "I need help finding something in the store, of course," she replied. "I'm not an employee here, lady. I cannot help you." "That's just disrespectful and disgusting. I want to speak to your manager," she shouted. "Lady, are you deaf? I don't work here," I said. "I don't have this place's uniform." "Do you understand the words I am telling you?" I added. "You cannot talk like that to your clients." "Your client is your boss and I demand respect," she said. "That might be true, but the only thing is that I don't work here," I said again. "I want to speak to your manager," she shouted. "Lady, I'm a veteran. My boss was a general major and I'm pretty sure he won't be willing to listen to you," I said, smiling. She goes closer to me and snatches away my cane. I lose my balance and fall to the ground. I felt my back and leg hurting very badly afterwards. I was laying on my back, unable to move. "Haha, you cannot move, old man?" she asked, laughing. Karen got closer to me and started laughing even harder, and because of how angry I was, I gave her a leg sweep and she fell to the ground too. She quickly got up and she was ready to scream, but then she noticed her sunglasses were on the ground, smashed. "I cannot believe this. First you assaulted me and then you broke my glasses," she started screaming. "These sunglasses are more expensive than everything you have ever seen in your life," she added, pretending that she was crying. "You harassed and assaulted me first," I shouted. "That's not true. You sexually assaulted me and pushing you was self-defense," she said and then looked at her glasses. "These glasses are more expensive than your house, old man," she added. "And you think that's something to be proud of?" I asked. Karen started hitting me with her purse, but my friend intervened. "That's enough, I'm calling the police," said my friend. Karen goes closer to her and starts hitting my friend with her purse. When my friend tried going back, Karen pushed her out of the wheelchair as well. "See, I put you both down," said Karen, laughing. "All you had to do was help me find some milk, but you had to play smart and funny, and look where that got you," added Karen. Karen then takes out her phone and calls the police, stating that I and my friend sexually assaulted her. Meanwhile, the manager came, shocked by the scene he had in front of his eyes. He helped me and my friend to get up and apologized for not coming earlier. "What happened here?" asked the manager. "What happened is that I was just doing my shopping in peace, and these two kept following me around the store. At first I didn't think anything of it, but then they attacked me, sexually assaulted me and tried to rape me," she said, presenting again that she was crying. "I was very scared," she added. The manager was confused, looking at us and then at Karen. The story Karen told was hard to believe. My friend and I told our side of the story and how things really went. Meanwhile, the police showed up at the scene and started asking questions. "This woman is lying," said the manager. "Police officer, these three right here tried to assault me," shouted Karen. "At first it was just these two, but the manager joined them. They assaulted me right here and I only acted in self-defense," she said. "We will check the security cameras and see exactly what happened," said the police officer. "There's no need for that. I already told you what happened. They assaulted me and you have to arrest them," added Karen. "Unfortunately, lady, we cannot take anyone's words just as the truth. We gotta do our job, and if they are guilty, we will arrest them," replied the policeman. The police checked the security camera and they saw and heard everything that really happened. Fortunately for me and my friend, the quality of the store's security cameras was amazing and you could also hear the conversation really well. The police knew what they were dealing with, so they went to arrest Karen instead. When they went back to the store, they saw that Karen was trying to run away. She was running towards the exit, but a policeman started running after her and grabbed her by her hand. "Why are you trying to run?" the policeman asked her. "You said you were not guilty," he added. "I was not trying to run. I'm not guilty. I got sick and I wanted just to breathe some fresh air," she said. "I was running because I didn't want to vomit inside the store," she added. "Please follow me back inside." "You were right about everything. We will arrest those people," said the policeman. Karen followed the policeman happily, smiling and giggling. When they all got back together, Karen went closer to me and whispered, "You're screwed, old man. I am winning this." The police officer came from behind and put the handcuffs on her. She started screaming and kicking. "You are under arrest for assault, false declaration and also for trying to run," said the policeman. "But you said I was right," shouted Karen while trying to kick the policeman. "I lied, just like you did when you called us," said the policeman. "Stop trying to kick me if you don't want to be charged with this too," he added. She was arrested and taken to jail. My friend and I continued shopping and we also received a 50% discount coupon and many apologies from the manager. In the end, everything was fine, my shopping cart was full and I and my friend laughed about the whole situation. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I am very glad that Karen got what she deserved in the end, because you definitely should not attack veterans or pretty much anyone in a grocery store. This Karen was clearly up to no good and I hope she learned her lesson now. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.